Ocho?
Cement.
Yes.
That's my bad. I didn't know.
Hey,
My bad, John.
who's Malcolm today?
It's always 8.
It's always 8. Well, all right.
Oh, this is a special one, man. Kobe, number 8.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 824.
Ooh.
I didn't realize that.
Ooh, that's
I thought we were
good
almost
one.
at 7.
Since we're
Yeah.
talking about shirts, tell them what we got going
I
on here.
gotta go with my shirt, man. Hey, this is simple, man. It's just a Kuna Matata, man. That's all it is.
It means
man.
what?
No better
No
saying.
worries, bro. It means no worries. That's it.
That's what it means. What you guys been up to, man?
You haven't watched The Lion King, man?
I do. It's been a while. Did you watch the new
I
new
did.
version?
I did. It's fire.
You watched it?
I have not watched it.
It was fire.
Have you?
It's good.
Let me ask you, was there anything different than the first version?
That's what it was.
Was there anything different?
Like,
Not storyline, no.
No, it was
It's just
everything
a
was the same.
remake. Yeah, it's just a remake. That's
This is just
typically
better graphics.
Yes,
in essence.
up to
And
date
more singing.
graphics. A lot more singing.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot more singing?
Well, overall, yeah. Just about the same.
It was a musical.
But it's recognized voices that you can recognize. You know what I mean? Beyonce. She played the role of
You know what?
Lila.
No. You know what movie I didn't know was a musical? The one was it Aladdin? Not
It's not a
Aladdin.
musical.
No.
Yeah,
The one.
with
Will
Will
By the way,
Smith?
did you guys watch
Aladdin.
the new one?
Yeah,
Aladdin,
I watched that one.
Yeah.
That's a musical. The one with
There is
Will
a
Smith.
musical of it, but the movie's not. The movie that came out.
I mean,
The
it
new
has
one.
some singing in
it
it,
has
but
some
it's
singing.
not.
I wouldn't label that as a musical.
They started
Musical
singing.
wise,
It
it's
off.
I haven't seen it, guys.
You turned it off.
I swear to God, I
Dude.
turned it off. The
Dude,
first,
That's
when
how
they were on the
Aladdin.
boat.
Time out.
Yeah.
Do you know how Aladdin
Was that
even
Aladdin?
starts?
Is that
Aladdin,
Aladdin?
man. This is right here.
Aladdin, he's stealing something. It's just like
I haven't
they have to tell
watched
the
it.
story.
Bro.
Is it Aladdin I'm talking about?
Aladdin. They're in the boat.
They were in a boat, and then he started singing.
Yeah.
I turned the shit off right there. I swear to God.
See, that's
He didn't
that's
give it a chance.
You didn't give it a chance. Just give it a chance, man.
Good movie.
All right, guys.
Give it a
Well,
chance.
listen. We are excited for this show. We are in the midst of a crazy situation here. When we're filming right now or recording, obviously the coronavirus is in the situations, all that is spreading and getting a little out of hand, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we're going to be discussing today, in a sense of what we think about that, but also how that's affected our industries and how we've had to re-strategize or reposition ourselves in each industry in terms of our processes or our strategies and things of that sort.
So we want to kick it off with the quote.
Dang, yeah.
Almost forgot.
Man, no, I didn't forget. Give me a chance to finish my whole, just finishing.
I mean, you were finishing up.
You were finished, bro.
All right, let's go. Quote of the day by
Mr.
Mr. Q.
Q.
Mr. Q.
Malcolm, what we got?
So fear,
Mm.
right?
Tell 'em.
That's what these uncertain times bring.
Yeah.
But fear has 2 meanings, right? You can forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. The choice is yours.
One more time.
Fear, 2 meanings, right? You can forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. And in uncertain times, hey, this is a topic all across. Are you gonna adapt, right? Are you gonna rise? Are you gonna? Because if you stay in fear mode, I mean, you literally might not leave the house, right?
Yeah.
And so, well, there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna, they're talking about a lot of isolation and. But, this conversation today is, hey, how do you adapt to that? And in the midst of it, how do you overcome fear?
Yeah. And I think it's important to note, like, we're not saying, like, being courageous and whatnot, not being fearful means, like, disobeying rules in the sense of, oh, no, I can get through this type of thing. If the CDC or the county or the state is saying, hey, we need to, whether it be a lockdown or you need to, in essence,
Self-quarantine.
yeah, self-quarantine and things of that sort. We're not saying, hey, fear does not mean that, or not being fearful doesn't mean I'm going to ignore that and just do me, obviously. But it's the mindset, I think, in how you want to approach it. I'll be honest, a lot has to do in media. I think media has a lot of, has to do with our perception of what we think. I mean, what you guys thought about this whole situation? Anybody?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys you can't talk today?
No,
man, it
I
sucks.
was just looking at this right here, this setup right here. It's kind of almost like what we're experiencing right now, a lot of ups and downs. I kind of want to see this kind of flatlined a little bit, you know what I mean? There you go.
Okay, the mic
Yeah.
is
Yeah. Keep it
He's
flat.
worried about the wrong thing. We're having a
There we go.
conversation.
There
We're
we
getting
go.
kind of
There-
deep here, but
There we go. Now, this is what we're looking for. Everybody
Okay.
on the same page. So what they're trying to do is flatline everything so that the virus
Yeah, that
doesn't
was a
spread
pretty good
over.
transition. To be
Right?
honest.
So yeah, of course it's a little nerve-wracking. You don't know what's happening. You know, the uncertainty of tomorrow, and it just seems like every day it's getting worse, right? So I think you gotta be able to find your peace. I think that's what, for me, that's what we're working on right now, is just trying to find a peace and trying to make sense out of what's going on. Many prayers and thoughts to those that are currently experiencing it, those who may have lost a loved one. Our thoughts and prayers out to the families. That's what my thoughts are right now.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's you got to control the controllables, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many things you can't control, and anytime something like this happens, you raise your level of awareness. And to Yanni's point, yeah, it's not like, it's not, hey, let me act like there's nothing going on.
Right.
But it's, hey, you focus on what your controllables are, right? And so that also means you might have to be more educated on
Sure.
things that you're not as versed in. And at the end of the day, it's you gotta find peace, because hey, you're gonna have plenty of people that are gonna be panicking, right? And so it's for me, it's all about raising my level of awareness,
Yep.
right? And you could do that. I think it can help stabilize what you're feeling, so you don't get too emotional.
Sure.
But it's being more aware.
I mean, ultimately, what's...
Cloud hats.
Oh, were you going to say something?
Yeah.
I mean, those are all good things. I mean, you can always elaborate and give more, but I mean, you guys said it.
So, like, we can agree for the people that are in what situation are the most fearful or are more stressed in this time. What people, in the sense of, I think it comes down to those people that are not in the best financial situation.
I mean, it could be that, or it could be people that are being affected by the virus.
Well, I mean, ultimately, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
okay, so like, in essence, apart from you having the virus itself and whatnot, in essence, when they talk about, okay, well, work might stop, or you're not gonna be paid for this, or hours are gonna be cut back, or this and that. Ultimately, it is, and ultimately, if this virus, in essence, I think there is going to be a time where the vaccine's going to come and whatnot. But people have recovered. It's not like the end of the world. If once you get it, it's a death sentence. There's some people obviously more sensitive to it than not. But I look at it and the first thing you think about, man, if I don't work or if this gets shut down, if in my case people are not buying homes or selling homes, that stops income. You personally, if your financial situation is not the best, that's where it gets like, oh man, like it's, and so it just goes to the fact that, like, you just never know. Like, this is uncertain times. Like, we've never faced this at all.
Sure.
Like, so like you could do all the right things, and then you're in a situation where everything stops. So all the more reason why the opportunities that you have, when you're not in these situations, you gotta bust your ass to, because it's not about, you gotta put yourself in a situation where not to be stable in those times, but like in times like this where, you know what I mean? So it always comes back. Ultimately, it always comes back to, in this world, like financially, like being able to be stable, and that's the cause of a lot of stress sometimes, a lot of worry and whatnot.
Yeah, especially for families.
Yeah.
So like, in our industry, I mean, in sales, you got somebody that's relying on 100% in commission. How well they've done prior to, this event could magnify that emotion. So, hey, our whole motto about being motivated, resilient, skilled, it plays to how you adapt when things are not going the way you want it to. Yeah. Right? And
For sure.
I mean, that's at a certain point, you have to focus on how you can adapt to what's going on, versus, I guess, be a victim too.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, that's always that's always what we're trying to implement. Yep. Every time we get we come across each other. So
for sure.
It's everybody's affected differently.
I wanted to get your thoughts, but what do you guys think about, obviously, in times like this or other times as well, but obviously this is, it seems like a much more serious, but there's always people that are trying to, accumulate all these necessity items or what would consider to be necessity items and sell it at a much higher cost and profit than sometimes reasonable, what we call price gouging and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I could see both sides. I've heard some people say, it doesn't make, like, it's in essence, it's we're in a capitalistic, country and whatnot. Is it, why should they be banned and this and that? What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that, Claude?
I mean, obviously it has a name for a reason, price gouging. So, if that's the question you're asking. And usually, by definition, that usually means that's happening during a time of need or a national emergency or something like that.
Sure.
Of course, you want to, that's the whole reason you start a business, of course, to make as much money as you want or be key opportune, but at the same time, you have to be humane and make sure you're doing the right thing inside. You know what I mean? Because there's people that are worried, or you may not be in a situation where you need hand sanitizer right now because that's what it is, but there could be an older person that's going out that's been sick, and that's their way to make sure that they stay safe. So there's different ways. The same thing. At the end of the day, there's a name. I see profit in it. I'm not saying there's a limit to it. It's basically, that's the reason they call it that. Yeah. At the end of the day, and that's how I personally feel. But of course, everybody has their own opinion, and you can have your own opinion. This is America, so.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, so not to try to sound inhumane, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you used that word, and I was like, damn. So like,
So
which is true.
Think about it. Why would they have a name for it at that time? If you look at the definition, you could pull it up.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah. But I think who's to, because there's different ways you can look at it. If I'm here, if I'm overpriced, or if I'm selling products that is a life and death situation, and I'm spiking up my prices, and you absolutely need to have this in order to survive, I get it. But we're talking about hand sanitizer here, folks, right? We're talking about toilet paper, right? So what's the need, if you will, in those? Those are, in my perception, I view those items more like if you will, like a want versus a need. Because really, according to CDC, they prefer for all of us to be washing our hands with soap constantly. I didn't read anything about no hand sanitizer.
So let me ask you this: if somebody was selling soap at a crazy, would that make a difference?
Yeah,
so
it could
I think you're talking about like if the product is something that's
if it's detrimental or if it's essential to the individual or to to society, if you will, as a whole, I get it. But if I'm an entrepreneur and I see an opportunity here where people are willing to pay more than normal for a product that they don't absolutely need.
You're saying you don't see nothing wrong in
I don't see
them
wrong
taking
with
advantage of.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it because eventually they're going to pay for it. There's consumers out there that are willing to pay for it. So then why not capitalize on it? Right? Because it's not again, I say this with an asterisk, it's not a product it's not a need. Like it's not
a cure.
Yeah, it's not a cure.
Right.
And what are we talking about? We're talking about these hand sanitizers that barely have 60% alcohol in them. We're not talking about hospital grade sanitizers.
By the way, Alan definitely thinks hand sanitizers don't do a thing. That's what you told me.
No, because
he told me he's like hand sanitizers don't do anything.
They're not as effective. And you read it, if it's not 60% alcohol in it or more, then it's really not.
How many percent does the hand sanitizer?
Barely touches that number.
Yeah.
And so, but we're not talking about hospital grades. We're not talking about taking away from the hospitals and the doctors and the nurses. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these little Bath and Body Works smells good. I just want to,
Which I love.
That's about it. So if you're willing to, pay extra for that, hey, I'm selling to you.
Yeah.
It is.
That's my thought on it.
Because ultimately, those items is what the perceived necessity is. Like, people just started buying toilet paper, and then it became a fad in the sense of, I gotta get mine. So that just kind of grew from.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
Yeah, for sure.
So people got.
It's not. What's?
Claudio said he needs some. I got some, Claudio.
I do.
And if somebody's willing to pay a lot more for toilet paper, are you kidding me?
Claudio said,
Why not?
I need some. And he said,
I mean, I gotta
because I ordered from Amazon.
Yeah, you did. You did. But what I'm saying
make
is,
sure you're prepared. So
Yeah, are you gonna charge them? Not fair price.
Price going ain't gonna be happening.
I'm just saying, man. Like, what do we need 20
Hey,
boxes?
I'm
of
charging
toilet
him
paper
per.
for?
for,
Hey, shout out to
sheet.
the young child that charges per squirt, 69 cents per squirt. All right, the man just wanted
So
some
like,
Doritos.
yeah, that was another one that you said.
Listen, he just
So,
wanted some
Claudio,
Doritos.
how about that one? What do you
Right?
think of that one? So we're talking about there was a kid, some school
In the UK.
It was in the UK.
Yeah.
He got suspended from school because he was charging the other classmates per squirt
Yeah. So-
a fee, and so like they suspended him.
Yeah. So think about it. That's a convenience that somebody was willing to pay for. No, hear me out.
Claudio,
That was a convenience.
Well, I think Claudio likes.
There-
What do you think about
Is there a
that?
law?
No, what I'm saying is somebody was willing to pay for the convenience of having
what was
hand
the
sanitizer.
outcome of that story?
Right?
What was the outcome?
Well, the father told him, "What a boy, that a boy," and he's going back to
Was that
school
what
when
you
school
made up
opens
or
up.
no?
No,
You made
seriously,
that up, or
his
the guy-
father was very proud of him.
Was he?
Yeah.
No,
So
but what happened to him? So he
He got
just
suspended.
that was the outcome.
yeah, which I
I
think
just
it was
said it. I
wrong.
just said he
It's
gets
very
suspended.
wrong. And
That's
by the
what I'm
way,
saying.
it's
What do you mean?
the entire school suspended. There's no school.
And I'm like, well,
So there
Hey,
goes that
Took
punishment.
advantage when I could.
So the point that I was trying to make earlier
was
is
that right though? Like
to charge or to get
no
suspended?
to get suspended. Should he have got suspended?
No,
I don't know the rules on
I don't think he
What-
should have got
what did it-
suspended.
what the rules are on that.
There's no
so-
rule in the handbook of a high school or whatever. It says
I
you
mean,
cannot
obviously,
charge.
if somebody, how did they find out about it? First of all,
I'm
think
sure
about
people
it.
I'm
spoke
sure.
up.
I mean, people. Yeah.
How did it find out?
I'm sure people spoke
I
up.
mean, it's at school. People talk.
Somebody-
So
Yeah.
that's usually what happens.
The point that I was trying to make about the hand sanitizer is this. If Yanni wants the convenience of a hand sanitizer as opposed to walking himself 100 feet and go wash his hands, he's going to have to pay for it. Because those same kids can go to the bathroom, get some free soap and some water and wash their hands. But no, they wanted the hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna
I
charge
think
you.
we're missing a point. I mean, we're getting stuck on hand sanitizers. It's
No, we're
bigger
talking
than
about
that
just
kind
the
of stuff.
whole.
I mean,
No, we're talking about the act of somebody when Amazon they suspended that person
That was selling hand
for hand
sanitizers.
sanitizers for that act of being where you're in an area in a country of capitalistic. Is that right or wrong? When you're saying
what's your?
I to be honest with you, I think there should be I think you brought this up. There should be a limit of you cannot sell it beyond this amount or whatnot. But ultimately, it's I'm saying you can't have it both ways in the sense of if it's a capitalistic nation where you have the free will to buy what you want at whatever price and whatnot. Because keep in mind, nobody says this to pharmaceutical companies when they do it.
They don't.
You know?
There's no bigger need than that.
You know what I mean? So it's hypocritical in that sense. It's just because I understand what you're saying because I think it wasn't like this is a necessity that you need. Like you need this. You need whether it be that or toilet paper and whatnot. And so I can see that it's something that I think grew over media, people sharing things and whatnot. I gotta have this. I gotta have this. And ultimately, but.
What about you, Ma? What do you think? What's your
I
thoughts?
probably agree more with you. I mean, it's he's more in the middle,
Yeah.
right? He's saying, hey, you shouldn't be charging it at a ridiculous amount,
I mean,
right? But
the way you guys gotta look at it at these times when it's an emergency, that's like
Yeah.
somebody, okay, let's say your car is charged and you sell chargers. Let's just say you sell batteries and all, a national emergency, and they've been without power, whatever's happening. But guess what? You have the solution to what everybody needs because their phone is dead, they're dying.
Yeah.
And you go over there and you start charging everybody that needs that. And you charge a ridiculous amount for it. Not just normal price what you've been doing. You charge a ridiculous amount.
When the need,
Yeah,
now because
that's wrong. Period.
yeah, so
But what's
he's probably talking.
So
about
the thing I think
That's
what
cool.
he's saying, it's going above. So because they were making profit anyway when they were selling. I hear what you're saying. Because when they were selling the hand sanitizers at whatever price that is, they were already making a profit.
if I bought it for $1 what I'm hearing is you guys don't want me to sell it for $5. You want me to sell it for
Not
$250.
Not if you've been selling it for $250 before.
Yeah,
That's
so
what it
there's
is.
regulations
So if
already
you
on.
were selling it at $250 before,
Yeah.
then you increase it
To
to
what?
$5.
Yeah.
Yeah, to $5.
Yeah.
When it comes to again, if it's a
It's
situation.
essential
You're-
to.
Clyde, you're putting it in context.
Yeah, I'm
because-
putting
Oh,
on.
that's
Yeah,
how it's always in context.
Yeah. So, and
But you could always, if first of all, it wouldn't be an issue because nobody would be buying his stuff, or they wouldn't be paying attention to him.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a situation or in this scenario, like in terms of a pandemic.
Which is why I was saying it's not a life and death situation. Like it wasn't
needing power is not life or death until it becomes life or death.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So that's already an objective terminology. Same thing like, hey, is gas life or death? Yeah, you can walk, you can run, but it's out of the city. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're charging the same thing with gas stations, charging a ridiculous amount for gas, and they get in trouble
that happens
for it.
anyway. People do it.
It
anyway.
does, and they get in trouble for that.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean,
Interesting.
That's what it's called, price gouging.
yeah. No, I know. Like it's, in essence, it's just. But again, there's people that go on both sides of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having an entrepreneur mindset. I mean, there's a lot of lessons from what everybody's trying to do in different things. It's just you got to apply those prime example of what we're about to go into. You got to apply those lessons and those things into your real life business and your real life thing, and do that stuff beforehand, so it's not looked upon that way at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the difference is where if you were charging that same amount before that, then that's not.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
Now you're taking, in essence, you're taking advantage of the situation. Because
But
now
it's almost like summer products. You can buy summer products during the winter for less price than you can during the actual summertime. So is that price gouging? It's not a need.
when
right?
when
Like
you
a
want
swim-
to become someone.
Yeah. You see what I mean? Like, so
No,
there
but-
goes that aspect of it. So you'll see it all the time. There's seasonal products that, hey.
But that's a different scenario. I mean, that's not even in the same context of a national emergency where people need, like, this is stuff like that. There's different things that are needed throughout the process that may not look like a big deal at the same time.
Hey, you saying regardless of it being a cure?
Yeah.
When I said in context, it's because it's, you know, that person could very well sell it for the same price, right? And feel like he's doing a service versus the exact opposite. When I meant in context, it's the fact that it's in an emergency. It's not, hey, I mean, obviously people want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be much more healthier. The whole washing hands and all that, obviously that's available for everyone. But I mean, hey, if you're gonna price gouge,
No, I'm with you.
don't do it in these times.
I'm with you. I just don't think that certain products that we've been seeing, it's not
In
truly
this situation,
yeah,
right.
in this situation. Like I get your example about the battery, but in this particular situation, like it doesn't.
Let's move on.
It's
Let's move
not,
on. I think it's more the idea of just having. I think the idea is like being suspended by like the guy.
Yeah, he should have that suspended.
So, anyways,
all I'm saying.
that's that. But let's talk in essence. Again, it seems like we're going into the time frame where now we're seeing more things shut down. Like a lot of in our areas, the bars, the restaurants, non-essential type of buildings are being shut down and things of that sort now. People in the service industry I know are being affected. Each one of us are in different industries and so how has it affected you, your industry, your business, and whatnot? And Alan, you want to jump this off?
Yeah. So I think for us, we've seen.
And then remind, obviously, just for the new viewers, exactly what in terms of what industry you're in.
Yeah. For me, we work in the vacation industry, right? So, right, go figure.
Yeah.
So you would automatically assume, oh man, business is like really, really down. It's slower for sure, drastically slower. But so what we've seen is a more focus on efficiency rather than just pushing numbers. Like prior to all of this happening, we're seeing a vast increase in amount of people that we see. That number is dwindling down, and we're having just a bigger focus on performing on obviously making the most out of what we get. So quality over quantity, right? So for our aspect of it, the aspect of there's two sides to the business. This side is the returning clients that I'm going to speak of, people that already own with us. Those are essentially like guaranteed tours because they're vacationing, they're here.
The owners?
The owners, right?
And so right now, there are people still
there are
there?
still people
It's about
checking in.
in-house
Yeah,
people.
in-house, right? So there's still people checking in. They're still coming in. They're still staying at the properties. Not at the rate that it should be at, right? So
Lower, though, obviously.
much lower,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we're seeing anywhere between a 20 to 30% decrease in what we're supposed to be seeing. So now it's just focusing on those individuals that we do see and making the most out of it, right? And so that's sort of what we've seen on the in-house side of it. I'll let you talk about.
Yeah, for new clients coming in, it's crazy, but we see a the clients coming in right now, right? And I'm telling the teams this. These people, it says a lot about how they perceive even what's going on right now because they're all still coming in with the desire to travel, right? And hey, it might be postponed.
Oh, wait, I don't care about this.
They're like it might. They're more
I don't care
serious.
about this virus.
Hey,
They're
they're
still
more.
going to travel, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to last forever.
And there's some people are like, hey, now is the time to take advantage of
The lower.
buying things,
Yep.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And so when you put it in context, to your point, it's less traffic. It's it's not 20 clients coming in. It might be 10, but those 10 clients are high quality travelers, and at the end of the day, it reverts back to hey the same volume.
Yeah, that's for sure. Exactly. That's the
Right.
point that I was gonna.
Yeah,
talk about too.
if not more.
Volume of sales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
volume and sales. So it's the tough thing is if they shut down, if you lose, let's say you lose 2 weeks, I mean, then you're seeing nothing.
Right.
Right,
That's what.
and-
Yep.
Yeah, but it's taking advantage of it while while they're coming in,
Right.
and maximizing on each opportunity.
Right. And
But I think there's a
I
lot
saw
you
on
can
your
learn
side,
about it.
on your numbers too. The volume that you're selling are bigger than they were in the previous ones, right?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
we've seen that in ours. Like we're selling much bigger volume size. There's
Yeah.
not as many, but the deals that are being sold or the owners that are buying or upgrading or whatever, they're larger number.
Could it be because of the deals, like the specials, probably they're giving them?
Specials,
For being
Yeah.
the attention that everybody's giving them. So,
Yeah.
to your point, when you're seeing the 10, but you got full staff still there, then you got more people that are gonna cater to those individuals. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think yeah. So that's just what we've seen. As
Yeah, I mean,
effective. What about you?
in my industry, I mean, of course, with dealing in the role that I'm in, and outside sales, and you're calling on different people. The industry for us, specifically in mine, is travel. So anything dealing with travel right now is taking a big hit. And of course, when you have big clients, I'm not going to say their name, but they shut down and other places start shutting down, it affects the revenue side of what I'm selling.
Sure.
So when that affects that, then things start to change, and you gotta figure out different ways. And I have a role within the company and a mission that I have to accomplish, and I can't worry about too much on that side.
Yeah.
But I do, because everything I do comes from the revenue. But
Right.
in order for them to have the revenue, they need the new business too.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, you still have your role and your lane of what you need to do, and you have to control what you can control, which we mentioned earlier. And a lot of times, you're wanting to do more face-to-face meetings with these clients or whoever you're meeting with. And as things start to calm down, we're going to have to, which we already started, using like Skype and other ways to connect with these folks, so they don't feel like, we're not able to do something. But of course, at this time, we're not a big priority on their list too.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. So the biggest thing that we're trying to make sure is that we're there, and that we're also, supporting them any way they need us. You know what I mean? And just making contact, really. At the end of the day, you don't always have to be on the full sales mode on this kind of stuff, but you got to be there, so that way when the time does open up and you can go, and you're not starting from ground zero or you're pushed down.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You're still kind of in the limbo, and it can still be in the mix.
You've cultivated that relationship.
Correct.
So, yeah.
And who knows? I mean, I'll be honest, I've never been in this kind of situation before, but it would be crazy if you closed the whole deal and you did it all through Skype and you did the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing like completely, everything.
Yeah.
Like that would be crazy. Just
Yeah.
to like think about how much, that could affect future like everything.
Yeah. No, it's
So
talking about
depending
that as
on
well,
how long this goes.
And to your point, it can expose, hey, how skilled are you, right? Meaning, do you even have the ability to effectively, communicate that same value online, right?
Yeah.
And so, as we go into recommendations a little later, but I mean, I think it's an opportunity to increase awareness and really focus on, hey, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses, right? And that's because, hey, at the end of the day, I mean, things are gonna pass, right? Things are gonna pass, but it's, hey, what did you do in this time of uncertainty? When everybody is retracting, everybody is, I think there was one question, hey, is this gonna be a Netflix vacation,
Yeah.
right? But it's again, the choice is yours on how you respond.
Yeah, it's definitely at this time you got to be purposeful with your time.
Yeah.
So still working on honing in your skills, still working on your craft. I mean, looking up stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff you could still be doing during this time, and of course, I guess we can jump in that once we get in the recommendation stage.
Yeah.
But
Now, in
What
terms
have
of,
you seen for you?
well, with real estate, again, we're at the phase where, like, everything hasn't been totally shut down. So you're still able to, whether it be, go out and, it's not a shutdown, complete shutdown, but
Can't meet at Starbucks anymore.
I said what?
Can't meet at Starbucks anymore.
No, still, that's the last.
it's probably gonna go
Yeah.
here in the next week.
So, but in terms of real estate, I mean, like, it kind of goes to what you guys were saying with the vacation ownership. I think the ones that are realizing that right now because of rates, one of the silver lining, if there is something to say about that, of this is because rates have dropped, mortgage rates and whatnot. A lot of times, a lot of people have started refinancing, and it's gotten pretty crazy that the banks, mortgage companies, all that, they've gotten so much refis that they can't take anymore. Like, refis are like stopping. So people are just it's too much business too quick. And I was talking to a couple of lenders. They're like,
Good problem.
in a way, but like in essence, it could backfire for them as well. So like, because again, you got to talk about, keep in mind those things are debts they take on all that. So when we're talking about, it's not necessarily with mortgages when you finance. It's not a transaction where they give you something and you buy, and they give you money. It's not like something like that. It's they're taking on this debt and all that. So there's a whole different complicated world on that side where it could literally shut people out of business in essence. So that's why they're banks and whatnot. They're basically saying no more refi. They can't take any more applications,
Wow.
which is crazy. But rates are down, so like now you're seeing a lot of people on the market to purchase homes that are definitely serious, that understand that rates have gone down. So it's a great time to get something that ultimately will be something that's going to be invested for them, or something that they could get at a cheaper, a lower cost in that sense. So we inventory is lower in our area. In essence of that's how many properties are for sale and whatnot. I think partly because there's people that of all this going on. Keep in mind, normally an election year, things tend to be like a little stagnant anyway. But now you got this going on, and that's but we still seeing a flow of people. So that's what we're hoping to stay. And unless everything kind of shuts down, like Italy and things of that sort. Hopefully we don't get to that level. So hopefully this next couple of weeks will really, like you said, what they say, lower the, I guess,
Stabilize.
yeah, stabilize and get people and get that, I guess, the virus under control in that sense. And hopefully that will kickstart things. But I guess each one of us, and you've alluded to it, Cloud, have had to change kind of strategies or processes what we do.
Right.
And I'll give you an example just so I can kind of, we have seminar so we do first time homebuyer seminars pretty regularly every month or so. This one coming up here this weekend, the CDC has said that events that are of more than 50 people should be canceled or postponed. So we'll be right around that, probably like that 30 people or whatnot. But I think it's not the wise move to do it in-house. So what we're talking about, you brought it up, is doing like a stream, and finding ways. And it's an opportunity like where, this could be a potential where this is something that we can do this more regularly and do it more on a streamlined basis and stream it and things of that sort. So now that would basically, when things go back to normal, we can still do this and be able to do more of these seminars and not require less work in that sense of setting things up. People could just and
more convenience. Think about how many people, when you do this webinar, like if it does go somewhat good, you could do it on a different day. That appeals to more people. I mean, that can't make it on that certain day or different things like that.
But you could do multiple ones. Like you could do multiple ones, and so
I mean, there's a lot of.
Yeah. Did you say that it can also bring, it could take it from 30 to 100.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, 'cause you normally do them on Saturdays.
Saturday,
Everybody's gonna be home.
Everybody's gonna be home, right? And so you might have record numbers.
Yeah.
Or maybe
what else?
Or maybe
knowledge is key.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what we're preaching right now. Make sure you're staying up to date, sharpening your skills. I mean, there's different ways to get knowledge. You got to take your mind off of work, so you got to do something.
Yeah.
Why not learn about buying a house?
That's very true.
Why not?
In the process.
Are you gonna tune in if you do?
I'll tune in if you do a
For real?
webinar. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you normally do, like Saturday morning?
Work out.
Go to the
Go
gym?
to the gym. Play
Can't
basketball.
go to the gym. Can't go to the gym.
No,
Yeah,
Virginia you
play
can.
You can? Oh,
Virginia doesn't care.
Virginia doesn't care.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Let me put it back. Stop.
Like,
Why?
why?
I can't say that. But.
What's wrong with this? He said you can't say anything. I can say it. Virginia don't have no rules.
Not yet. Not
Maryland
yet.
shut down.
Shut
DC shut down.
You'll see. It's coming. I bet.
Virginia's gonna wait. They just-
Hey,
Wait it
hey.
out.
Well, this
I
thing,
called the gym.
if
You
Maryland,
did. Hey,
I called the gym. I said, "Hey guys, any plans of closing?" They were like, "No, not at all." I was like, "What? Maybe decrease hours?"
Yeah.
Mind you, this is a 24-hour
Your gym
gym.
opens 24 hours.
This is a
yeah.
24-hour gym. They're like, "No, we're
Not yet.
still open." I'm like, "All right, buddy."
I think
See you at 9.
Virginia's like, you know what? If DC and Maryland shut down, like that
More
reduces the people.
business.
Well,
Yeah.
it's more business, but like,
So is
in
that
essence-
price gouging then?
oh,
No.
If then this side of the bridge
But what
shuts
they're
down,
doing-
everybody goes there.
It's different because they're not charging. They didn't raise the price. We at the gym.
They might.
no, they can't.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can. Absolutely.
You already got a membership.
You
don't
sign,
have-
sign contracts.
New memberships. New
Hey,
memberships.
if anything, like there's numerous people canceling their memberships
Yeah, that's true.
right now.
That's true. Very, very true.
Just
Yeah, I would put on pause, right?
They're gonna go.
Yeah.
I'll put
Yeah,
pause.
they're going
Nice.
I
8
was
weeks.
over here like, let me sign up.
So if they're smart, then they probably start like month
Start
free.
discounting.
Yeah, something.
So how about you guys? Any like strategies and I guess how has your process changed with any of these changes and lockdowns and just all the things that are going on, if any?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned
Yeah.
the whole Skype thing and doing more calls that way. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't even have to get that sophisticated. The phone still works
Yep.
like normal. It's just a matter of making sure you make time and you have enough value to the table so they have time with you to spend. But like I said, right now, the main strategy is just staying there, staying present, so that way when the green light goes again, it's not starting all over.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And that's where it is right now. I mean,
Yeah.
because right now there's a lot of people that are retracting or not wanting to do stuff, and there's different strategies to make things work, and you just got to make sure, every vertical and every industry is different.
Yeah.
But the sales process and what I do takes long anyways, so
Yeah.
it takes 3 to 6 months for deals to finally close because the
Yeah.
decision making process and all that kind of stuff. So if you start, let's say the green light happens end of next month, and then I didn't, I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be up a creek. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think it's a perfect time to still, and a lot of our businesses, and again, your industry may be different, but a lot of our businesses have to do with relationships. So this is a perfect time to, again, you're at the house or you're not. This is still, we're in a technology age, phone, social media. We're talking about social selling. It's a great way to to still connect with people, create relationships. And again, as quick as things have turned downward, it's going this way, it'll turn this way as well. Like, and that's what I believe. Like, it could be, like you said, Kyle, we were talking about by the end of the month, like there might be like whatever, any day it'll be a vaccine that works.
Yeah.
And now they start rolling it out, and things are gonna, and keep in mind, things are gonna, really shoot up because people are dying to like get back in the track of things, businesses and whatnot. So, you just gotta be, ready to kind of ride that wave as well.
Right.
But so I mean, do you think this will affect how, like, the fact that right now we're moving more digitally? Do you think this is going to affect how businesses are done moving forward in business? And like people were saying, in joking, they were saying now companies are realizing, oh, that meeting could have been an email.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is definitely going to speed up the process throughout a lot of organizations. Because at the end of the day, if it could be sent in an email, I mean, it's going to really push everybody.
Or just digitally, or people working from home.
You have to embrace it if you're still going to do business. So it's going to push a lot of people to embrace it faster, which is good in the terms to what we are in the world we're in, and everybody else embracing it. And if people do, cost for business is going to go lower too, because you're not spending money for travel or different things like that.
Or even office space.
Even if you do like events and all that, and you could do it, guess what? You don't have to buy like the whole breakfast spread anymore, all this kind of stuff. Like, imagine like all the little cost savings that starts to happen. I mean,
it's going to happen too. I mean, all these businesses, all the money that they're losing now, when everything, like Carly was saying, when you get the green light, right, and things go back to norm, they're going to have to make up for all the losses.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to look at the individuals that have performed, the individuals that have rised to the occasion during the hard times, because those individuals are going to be looked at to lead the future of the company.
Yeah, I mean, how many people you have working on a daily?
We're cutting back down big time. Right now, we went down in our staff. I mean, like just yesterday alone, we had a total of only, I want to say, 10 people working, where normally we would have 30. Yeah. So a company could look at that and say, do we really need the 30, 40? Do we really need 40 people to be here at all times? So it's the cream of the crop.
30 salespeople, or like overall?
Salespeople, just salespeople.
30?
Yeah.
You only had 10.
We only had like 10, maybe 12.
Because it was less tours. It was less tours.
It was less tours, but on any other Monday though, we would still had the 30 people show up. Wow. See what I mean? So it's kind of you're gonna look at. I see it coming. They're gonna look at that and say, did we really need to have all these people here? And then hey, we're gonna look at the people that rose to the occasion, and then they're gonna lead the they're gonna lead the way, because at the end of the day, any company, yourself included, should only care about your bottom line, right? So at the end of the day, you're gonna try to do the best that you can to make that bottom line look good. So.
Is this a good time to break out the news about our webinar from a month from now?
Say what? Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. Yeah,
we're gonna have to.
Well, we're working on that. Keep in mind, like we said, and he's joking around in a way, but ultimately, we have the platform of this podcast, but we're gonna be doing more in depth, whether it be webinars, and when things calm down and get back to the regular rhythm of things, more in-house trainings and things of that sort. So we'll be keeping you updated on all of that. We'll see.
No, we didn't give Malcolm his time, man. What were your thoughts to that question?
Oh, hey, you're how you approach things from day to day, right? What's your mindset? All these things, because we're all in different industries. How creative can you be, right? To provide more value, more solutions, because again, there's not gonna be a shortage of the masses that are gonna, they're not gonna respond in a way that's gonna really help themselves, their families, any of that. So what we're talking about is, hey, if you're gonna adapt, you want to adapt to say, hey, how could I be more solution oriented, right? How could I create more awareness? Again, are my weaknesses going to be more exposed now? Everything, So I think in this time is where I really think you got to be as disciplined as possible to skill up, right? To take in more positive, right? Not listen to There's a lot of gossiping. You know, I mean, there's a man, especially with the media. You know, the media is going to control the narrative, or they're going to try to, right? And you know, the goal is to stay aware, and in this time, if there are cutbacks, put yourself in position to take advantage of it. That maybe the next time something like this happens, right? And I'm talking about taking advantage of opportunities. So, I mean, it's you gotta be prepared.
Yeah. So, we are definitely in uncertain times in the sense of unprecedented. But again, there's always an opportunity to come up. So, whatever your industry, you always gotta find a solution or find a way to either get better, find a solution to a problem now. Just be ready. It's not time to whatever you're going through, whether if you're off work, if you're not, if you have less time off on work at your work. I think there's always an opportunity to either get better, find a solution to capitalize. There's always a way to better from situations like this. So
to piggyback off our week episode from last week, this is a great time to create that life-work balance for yourself.
Work-life balance.
So, you know what I mean? So spend some quality time with your loved ones, your family.
Yes.
Hey, this is the time to do it as well, while also making sure that you skill up, for sure. And then also, I'm sure Claudio has this too, but your honey to-do list. I'm sure there's a long list of. I have a long list of honey to-do lists.
Oh, man.
So.
There it is. There it is. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed episode 8. 4 Horsemen of Sales. You can catch us on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Subscribe, download, leave a
Webinar
review.
coming out soon.
Yeah, webinar, training sessions, all those things. But again, signing out here, episode 8. Again, all podcast platforms and YouTube. 4 Horsemen of Sales. Signing out.
Yes.
No.
We clearly didn't.
We didn't.
We didn't apply the 6-foot rule here.